Welcome to the iRacers Lounge podcast. I'm your host, William Gibson. iRacers Lounge is a podcast for the iRacer where we talk all things iRacing in a casual setting. Joining me are the usual characters, Chris Perez, Chris Scales, David Flowers, and Tony Gross. How you guys doing?
What's up, Will?
Good evening.
Hey, new Mike.
Hello.
So we are missing Mike this week. We'll have him tell you guys where he is next week. So no special guest this week, but we're gonna kind of hit up results. Do you guys have a good week of racing this week at all, or how'd your guys' races go?
Mine was kind of up and... Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Dave.
I was going to say, me, Greg, and Chris all were in the same open on Thursday, and Greg finished third, I finished 10th, and unfortunately Chris qualified not so well, and within 5 laps got hit by somebody and ended up finishing 22nd. It was a long race for him.
I'm glad you said something. I couldn't remember what happened that race. I just looked up the result, and it was 22nd.
Yeah, you qualified, I think, about 17th or 18th. I qualified about 10th, and Greg qualified in the top 5. And, you know, before we got out of the first corner, like usual, there was a caution, and you got caught up in it.
Yep, yeah, I remember that one now. That really sucked, too, because it's so rare to get three people from the same team and the same split, and we really didn't get a race around each other. I don't think any of us did.
No, I mean, I was around Greg a little bit, but he definitely had a better, like, he was more comfortable in his car than I was. So, I mean, I got a top 10, I'll definitely take it, but I, melted the tires off the car because the last stint ended up being like 42 laps. So, I don't think anybody had tires left after that.
Yeah, California's, it's a slick track. For as fast as you're going there into turn 1, you don't really have a whole lot of grip as far as the surface goes. You really have to utilize the whole surface. I know Mike, he ran Wednesday fixed, and I was kind of there spotting for him, and he actually ended up P18, and we ran towards the back of the pack most of the race and got lucky on the last couple of restarts. There was a big wreck right at the end. But P18 was a really good result considering how we ran, and it's just that track is so slick and people get so aggressive early in the run, and I'm surprised we didn't have more cautions.
Yeah, the tires, like, my races were kind of up and down. Probably one of the best ones I had was the Sunday morning open, and we ran almost that entire race caution-free. I think we might have had both of them at the beginning, might have one at the beginning, one at the end. I don't remember. We went through a full fuel run, though. That actually kind of killed me because I kind of played the strategy of staying out until I was out of gas. A bunch of other guys short pitted and never had a caution, so that kind of killed me. But at the end of that run, man, it feels like you're driving around on beach balls.
That actually might do me some good if I did that. I can't do tire wear. I struggle at it.
I mean, you can if you don't mind giving up some spots early. If you go easy for about the first 10 laps, 10, 15 laps, then by the time, after 10 laps, most guys have already scrubbed off their tires, so you're able to actually come up and get back past them, especially if they run against each other a lot. It's just something I've noticed.
From what I could tell, though, you're really risking it, because if you are a little more laxed on your tires early in a run, and you start giving up 3, 4, 5, 6 spots, if you get a caution too quick, you gave those spots up, and now you're all back on fresh tires. It's really a balancing act of how much do I save these tires and how much do I fight for track position, because you just don't know when that next caution is going to be. It's so inconsistent because just the nature of how iRacing in the NIS series is.
It's just racing in general, though.
Yeah, I feel like especially once you get to those, like, the lower half of the splits, it just, there's going to be a caution, or you almost always expect there to be, but there's all those random times where you happen to get a 20, 30 lap run. I don't think the race I was with Mike, I don't think there was more than a 30 lap run at one point in time, so, and he was in a pretty high split.
Yeah, that Thursday race, we had like 2 or 3 early cautions, but after that, it was all green.
Yeah, that's not bad then. But I'm gonna kind of shout out Tyler Conroy, qualified pole in his Thursday fix race and ended up finishing P2. So best results from the team this week. Any other highlights you guys want to mention before we move on?
I had an interesting race. I did the fixed on Thursday night. Now, I finished 24th, and I got spun early on. A guy just come down into me, and so I was kind of pissed off the whole race. Nothing was ever said, so I didn't know what was going on, and it ended up putting me a lap down. I couldn't get it back. Like the uh the race we had, which is quite out of the ordinary. There wasn't too many cautions, so lots of green flag laps, um, and I was really getting confident driving that track, even as hard as that fixed setup was to drive. I was really enjoying it. Um, after the race finished up, I went back, looked at the replay to see what the heck happened, and buddy just got into the wall, and I was in the wrong spot at the wrong time. So after being pissed off for 2 hours, I kind of chuckled to myself at the end, and well, it really wasn't worth it, but it made me drive a little better.
Yeah, it feels like you never get a caution when you need it, but there's always one when you don't want it.
Yeah, tell me about it.
So some racing outside of NIS, we had teammate Phil Linden. He actually ran a 3-hour endurance race at Okayama. Finished P33, but was disqualified because he ran the whole race by himself with no teammate. So it started P27 out of 51. Held low P20s until a lap car clipped him. So it's good to see we're doing some racing outside of NIS, and I would have teamed up with him if I could, but I was stuck at work. But really cool to see that. Also, Phil ran a GRC race, ended up P2. So he's having a lot of fun outside, and it looks like he's ready to run for the Pro Series. Did you guys run any of the Pro Series this week, or have any plans to for the dirt or the GRC?
I forgot about it for the dirt. I've been meaning to, but I don't think my license is high enough. Don't you need an A license?
No, crazy thing. It's open to all license, and I believe that includes rookies. So,
Oh, wow, because I have a C license, so I'll take a look.
yeah, I was a little surprised by that. I didn't see anything in the forum. I tried to peek after I got off work that night, just because it was open to all license and snake splits. So, I didn't really see a whole lot. A lot of people complaining about number of cautions, but I unfortunately couldn't run in that. I had to work. I was really looking forward to that, but they had to throw it on a Monday night instead of a Tuesday or a Wednesday. So I'm gonna let you if you want to take the peak results there, Tony.
Sure. Yeah. I guess it was a good race. Unfortunately, I was on vacation last week, and I didn't get to watch it. But looks like Keegan Leahy took the win. And looks like he dominated that race. He um, led 140 of 156 laps. I actually found out about this through the NASCAR mobile site. There was a nice write up they put out there right on the front page, detailing the results from the Peak Antifreeze Series race.
Yeah, I watched small clips of it. I didn't really watch it start to finish. Unfortunately, I didn't even watch the end of it. But one thing that amazes me is how good their restarts are. I mean, those guys will fan out 3-4 wide, and nobody will wreck. So it looked like a good race. That's definitely impressive to lead that many laps. That's a dominant performance for sure. So curious to see if you could carry that on.
Yeah, I watched most of that race. I didn't get to watch the end earlier. I got busy with other things, but yeah, just the way those guys run and how they're able to fan out and not wreck. It's like Man, I need to get my I rating up so I get into more series like that.
And it's amazing because they're racing for much more than we are. In the NIS series, we're just racing mostly for fun. And you get people over aggressive wrecking, and there is good racing from time to time, but it just doesn't quite seem to be the same.
It just comes down to respect. Them guys respect each other. Everybody else on the, most of the people in the official series, man, there's just no respect. That's why I mostly do league racing, because we each have respect at that level. There's just random people you're gonna race with. Why do you care?
I'd like to add in another notable mention here. Ryan Luza, he came from 38th to finish third. It seems to me like I really want to. Maybe I should go back and watch this race because that's a heck of a charge. It's too bad he couldn't get the job done after that, but still, a third place finish coming right from the back.
Yeah, that's still good.
Yeah, I believe I saw or heard somewhere that Ray Alfala had some kind of pit road issue, and then the truck or the car didn't take on gas, and he had to make an out of sequence stop and I think he came from like 30th to 6th on the final restart. So definitely some good racing there for sure. So we're gonna hop into topics now. I'm gonna let you take the first one here, Chris.
All right, first comes from the forums, and it says, quick public service announcement. D3dgear.exe is not a virus. The first post was from Steve McDermott. He posted saying, after last update, D3dgear.exe detected as a virus. AVG paid version, IR staff, please advise. David Tucker chimed in. He said it's not a virus, followed by you can leave it quarantined. It is a helper function that registers some codecs for our video capture library. You only ever need to run it once, and you probably ran it a long time ago. And I didn't actually see a link to this. Did you see any more on this, you guys? If it's you can leave it quarantined and we don't need it, we ran a long time ago. Why can't we just get rid of it completely?
I've never seen that pop up. I've never even heard of it. I think it's just one of those things that just sits there, hides, and just hangs out. So I don't know why it's still there if we don't use it that often, or we only need to run it once. But just one of those weird computer things, I guess.
Yeah, I hadn't seen this either. I've raced a lot in the last week or so, but so maybe it's just if you have AVG antivirus, who knows?
I've never heard of it, and I used to have AVG, and it never came up. So.
All right, so we also this week we had a season 2 patch and a hotfix. I believe it was Thursday morning we received our patch. It took care of a few bugs that we talked about last week, including the bugs that kind of affected the 12 hours of Sebring. All that was kind of resolved. They adjusted the dirt track grip. So for dirt ovals, the grip was adjusted back to how it was in the end of 2017, so season 4. They fixed an issue where the dynamic track system was not rendering on non-dirt ovals, causing visual abnormalities. So basically, I believe we talked about Pocono last week, how the wall looked just tattered and destroyed. I believe that should have been adjusted by this patch. Also, some car adjustments. The Dallara IR18 had its drafting scheme adjusted, so you'll get less downforce in the draft, and it has less overall length, so it's going to be harder to kind of catch that draft. And this one kind of bummed me out, but they threw some tire bundles on the dirt section of the Sonoma Rallycross track. So right as you pull off the drag strip, they have tire bundles there on the inside, and kind of take away from you being able to dive bomb in the valley of the grass there. So if you've run that track, you know what I'm talking about. And they took some fun out of that, but it's still a great track. So, but that was kind of some of the highlights from the patch. All the rest of the patch notes can be found online. And then we got a hot fix a few days later, including a fix to a bug the LMP1 cars had. where if you try to remove a tear off, you got stuck on pit road. So some video surfaced of that early in the week, and by the 16th, that was all cleared up. So thank iRacing for that, and that's kind of all the notes we have from that this week.
So still nothing on that weird crash noise bug, I guess. I noticed it was still going on last night.
No, I didn't see anything about that, and I had a similar issue. I was practicing the 410 wing sprint car at Charlotte, and it made some awful crash noises as I was coming out of pit road there. So I think that's still kind of causing issues for some people.
Might cause heart attacks for some people. It scares the heck out of you.
I guess I'm not on here enough to experience any of these bugs.
I bet you will. Are you running Road to Pro tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet you will.
You'll hear it a lot then.
Yeah, if you're going to Martinsville, there's going to be a lot of crash noises sounding off there. So if it's going to be
some real and some imaginary.
Yeah, if there's any kind of crash bug or crash sound problem, it's going to be amplified at Martinsville for sure.
Oh boy.
So I'll let you if you want to take the next one, David, actually kind of goes over the 12 hours Sebring issues.
Kevin Bobbitt tells us what went wrong with the 12 hours of Sebring. On Wednesday, Kevin Bobbitt reached out on the forum discussing what went wrong with the 12 hours of Sebring. He stated, "The crash was caused by the sim running out of sound resources. When a driver leaves the car, they are putting into replay mode, which can lead to a spike in the number of emitters needed to reproduce the sounds of the cars in the session. This affects the endurance race in particular because of the large fields and driver swapping inherent in team racing. The fix will be included in the next members patch, expected to be released Thursday, March 15th. So looks like that's already been fixed. So hopefully something like this won't happen again. But unfortunately, with the endurance and the team racing, it literally, if it isn't one thing, it's another. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I almost feel like they need to run a special event every week 13. Not like an official 12 hours of Sebring or 24 hours of Daytona, but some kind of like maybe 6-hour special event. Something fun that you could do that will really show off if there is any issues, because these endurance events, these big special events, you get such a big user base and it really amplifies every little problem. I almost feel like they need to host one of these every week 13 we have, to just really get the kinks worked out before we have a official special event. I don't know if you guys had any thoughts on that at all, or
Yeah, but you could do all the testing, and I've bashed iRacing before, but you could do all the testing in the world and all the planning in the world. Equipment is gonna fail. Programs are gonna crash. It's inevitable.
It is, and unfortunately, like, I love iRacing, don't get me wrong, it's great, but they need to take a serious look about updating it to a newer platform, whether that's Unreal 4 or whatever, because they literally took the original NASCAR 2003 and that's what they've started with. That code's now going on, 14, 15, 16 years old, and people are like, well, they need to change this, and they need to add this, and they need to do that, and I think part of it is it's so hard for them because the code is so old that they don't have an easy way to be able to fix and implement things easily.
Well, and the costs are just enormous too. I mean, what do we want? Do we want more content, or do we want a better functioning thing? And yes, we do need a better functioning servers and stuff. But how much do we really like our content right now too?
and almost, I just feel like this was really kind of thrown off because the event was held on week 13. I feel like if there was more endurance racing as far as like the IMSA or anything of that nature, this would have popped up before. I feel like what really threw it off was it was a special event and an endurance event all in one week, where there wasn't a lot of other racing going on. so they really didn't have the time to properly fix or adjust it.
Hopefully, they are going to learn from every incident. But hopefully, we can get this number of stuff down to where it happens a couple of times a year instead of every event.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm not bashing iRacing. I'm really not. I understand, like Chris said, stuff's gonna fail. I get it, especially when it's an all online thing. It's just, when you look at special events in like World of Warcraft, it doesn't crash, and they used to have 50, 60 man raids and nothing would crash. So that's all I'm saying. Maybe take a look at moving their background code to a newer platform where it's easier for them to update and make changes.
So we're gonna move on to the next topic here. I'm gonna take this one. Fanatec is gonna sponsor a few series, and they kind of posted up about basically what's the word I'm looking for here? A contest, sorry. Where you can win some free Fanatec gear. So, if you want to win a free Club Sport V2.5 wheelbase and a wheel of your choice, all you're gonna have to do is run one of the 2 sponsored series with the Fanatec logo in your primary position, and at the end of the season, all that qualify will be automatically entered in to win the Fanatec wheel and base. So, I know we talked last week about VRS jumping on and sponsoring the GT3 World Championship, and we have Fanatec sponsoring some of these other road series, and it looks like you're getting a chance to win some free gear. So I think that's really cool. I think it'd be cool if more companies hopped on board with this model and really gave us more reasons to race some of these series. What do you guys think?
Definitely a nice way to grease the gears, and maybe push some. Now I'm at a loss here. More people to race those series.
Yeah, anytime you add in free stuff, you're going to get more people, sign up. And with the way Fanatec did it, where you have to use their logo as your primary sponsor, that's pretty cool. It seems like that's easy sponsorship for them. I mean, it's cheap sponsorship for them anyway. Get everybody to put their logo on the car. That makes it, I guess it'll make it kind of interesting, those races with everybody. Half the guys are going to be running the same primary sponsor trying to win that stuff.
Yeah, I can't remember which 2 series they sponsors. I believe the Proto GT was one of them, which runs like the Corvette, the Aston Martin, and then like the old Ford GT. I cannot remember what the second series was, and I know the Proto GT series was really one of the bigger road series back in the day, and it's kind of faded. So I don't know if this will hopefully help get more people in these races, or it is just cool to see them giving back to not just iRacing but to the members as well.
And it's cool that you just have to run, these things to have a chance at winning the prizes. That way, it adds the prizes, which gets the people competing in the series, but it doesn't add that extra. I'm gonna wreck your face off because this is for real money, and if I win, I could win these things. Everybody has the same chance.
It's the Fanatec GT Challenge, which is the 4GT, the Chevy Corvette C6 GT1, and the Aston Martin DB9R, as well as the Fanatec Global Challenge, which has the Cadillac and the Kia Optima. Those are the 2.
Okay, so yeah, it sounds like they sponsored what was known as the Proto GT, and then the Global Challenge, I think is what that one was called, which seems like it kept the same name. So those are entry level series as well. I think those are D and C class. So it's nice they're not just throwing it all to the Class A people, the people who probably already have this level of gear and equipment, if not something better. They're really offering it to the people I feel like who are really going to run for it and want and need it the most. So. Sorry, David.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hit the button.
Oh, all good, man. Chris, I don't know if you want to take the next topic here.
Yep. So Looks like Tyler Hudson made a post explaining heat racing options available in the beta UI for people hosting sessions. The list includes 12 total options, including one specialized for GRC, World of Outlaws, sprint cars, and late models. Some options include inversions, which is when the top qualify swap spots. For example, first in the heat starts 6th in the main, second in the heat starts 5th. We also want to thank Jeff Marble, who reached out and let us know Tyler Hudson posted a Legends race at Atlanta to test one of the new formats. Because the event went so smooth, he put $50 worth of iRacing credits for winning and $5 for everyone involved. All heat races and features went caution free. So yeah, cool stuff. So some of these other options besides the inversion, do you guys know what else is available to run in these hosted races?
It looked like a lot of them were for just depending on how many cars there were. The way the PDF was laid out was a little hard to read at first, but it looks like you could have basically X number of cars transfer to the heat, X number go to B mains and transfer. You can have the inversion, so just different formats there. I really like how they're getting in front of this. King's Royal is the first dirt oval special event they have, which will really take advantage of this system, as well as whenever they announce the Chili Bowl. So it was, to be honest, the PDF I had a hard time kind of sorting through because they were basically posted like, this is for World of Outlaw sprint cars, this is for World of Outlaw late models, this is if you want this. So there were definitely a lot of options, and it's really cool they're giving people that. It'd just be nice if you could run these heat race formats without having to open the beta UI.
Yeah, no kidding. I for one would like to do some more heat racing, and I wish there was more people in most of the fields. Like as for example, the only thing I've really raced is GRC, and I've never really felt like I had much of a chance of not making the main, because there's usually only half the time if you're running the constellation, it's going to be with maybe one other person, you're both making it, or you're going to have 4 people and those couple of guys going off the track. So that would be my only complaint. I'd like to see more people in some of these heat races and have a better chance of getting sent home if you don't perform.
Yeah, I kind of feel you there. I've never once been in a race where I didn't feel like I could make the main. I think with GRC now, I think 4 of them transferred to the main out of 6. That leaves only, if there's 2 heats, only 4 guys with 2 open spots in the B main or the consolation race, and usually 1 or 2 guys will drop anyway, so you're almost guaranteed a spot. I really feel like 2 or 3 should make it out of the heat, and then at that point have a bigger B main field with less people transferring to really kind of make it special for making that feature event. Either that or just have bigger splits. I'm not sure exactly the right way to fix it, but I kind of hear you there, Chris, as far as there's really no fear of not making it. As long as you drive smart, you're gonna make it. There's not enough cars to justify dropping anybody, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. I'm terrible at GRC, and I've never missed a main event, and that kind of defeats the heat racing a little bit. It's just smaller races at that point.
Yeah, but yeah, I want to really thank Jeff. He contacted out to me, I believe, yesterday, and he said originally Tyler posted it up and said, hey, $50 for the winner, 10 for 3 random people, but all the heat races were going so smooth. They said he really appreciated it and said, hey, $5 credits for everybody, as long as we could finish this whole session up. So they ran, I think he said 3 or 4 heats. That would have been a consolation race, and then the main with no caution. So I think iRacing needs to look at having somebody official there every race to get these races running smoother. So I'm going to take next topic here. If you run the Indy Oval Car Fix Series, Homestead was this week, but if you noticed, there was no Homestead Fix setup. Both the Homestead and Michigan setups were missing from the setup pool, and it took about a day for Eric, I can't pronounce his last name, Hudik, hope I said that right, to update the database and put those setups back in. So if you had any kind of issues running the new IndyCar Oval Series this week with the IR18, because setups were missing. That has definitely been resolved. So kind of a little oversight there from iRacing.
Yeah, but they got it fixed, so that's good. I mean, it is they do a good job of catching stuff when when it messes up. So, you mind if I take the next one, Will?
Oh no, absolutely, yeah, no, definitely. I was gonna pass this one on to you. I know you're a big fan of these cars.
Oh, I think I'm the only one out of us so far that's probably tried the LMP1 cars. I don't know if anybody else has.
Oh, I have.
Oh, you have? Okay, I wasn't sure, but out of me, Will, Chris, and Tony, I know I'm the only one that has. Um, so this week, they've had a lot of cool content come from the iRacing community, as well as some great media coverage, starting with a very informative video from YouTuber EmptyBox explaining how the hybrid system works for the LMP1 cars. I actually watched that video to learn how that hybrid system works. Basically, excuse me. Basically, it's all about the brakes. Each turn, you build up charge through the brakes, and that's what keeps your batteries charged. If you lose that charge, you lose half your horsepower. Now, the difference between the Audi and the Porsche is the Porsche on the straights has a little bit of catchability, and the other difference is the Porsche, you can see the catch bars on the actual like steering wheel panel. On the Audi, you can't see that. You have to go switch to a black box. I think it's the F7 one to see that, unfortunately. Um, but it was a good video. Now, the only thing I don't understand is why Xbox or why iRacing is having somebody else do an explanation video on something they released. I feel it's a great car, but it's left a lot of people scratching their heads going, well, how does this car work? And have to do a lot of self-testing to figure out something that iRacing could have very easily done with a 2 or 3 minute video.
I like the funny noises it makes when you're in it. It's a cool car to drive, but yeah, I wish, they would explain it better. I still, after watching his video, don't understand it.
Yeah, it's a great video. He goes really in depth as far as how the system works, what to look for in the sim, how the settings work, to kind of really get the most out of it. I tried it a little bit, but I have the Audi, and you can't see the battery charge and deployment rate on the steering wheel the same way you can in the Porsche.
That's what I was talking about, Will. You have to hit I think it's whatever. I want to say it's F7, but it might be F9. It's whatever black box does the in-car adjustments. That's where it shows that information. So if you're in the middle of racing and you have your relative up to see how close somebody is behind you, you're not. You're at a little bit of a disadvantage, unfortunately. So I'm not quite sure. I don't know how they would fix that. I mean, I don't know if that's how it is in the real car or not. I'm assuming it is. But, I mean, they're still fun as hell.
Yeah, and I actually drove some of the F1 car because the McLaren MP430 uses similar systems, and just from watching that video alone, I kind of understood better what to fiddle with on the Formula car. And I believe I like to practice at the Indianapolis road course, and I was able to take almost a second off my lap time just messing with those settings. I know it's a different car, but iRacing really should put more effort into really giving us an owner manual for these vehicles, because it's amazing how complex they are and how realistic they are and how everything works. But you almost need an engineering degree to really get the most out of it.
Well, the one thing, especially that like Empty Box said, like especially for Le Mans, as long as you leave it in auto for Le Mans, you're gonna be fine. So I'm pretty sure that's what we're gonna do. I mean, I'm sure you can leave it on auto for most tracks and be fine. Just manual just gives you that, little bit finer option to tweak it. That's really the only difference.
Yeah, but it was definitely a great video, and I would say if you are having a hard time or you just want to learn how the LMP1 cars work, just go to YouTube, look up Empty Box. It should be probably one of his top videos this week because it was super, super informative, very well done. So, Tony, I don't know if you want to take the next topic here.
Yeah, I'll take this one. So this is actually a pretty big stat, I think. Maximilian Beneke posted on Twitter that he was the first person to hit 10,000 iRating on road. The Twitter post says 1,000 days, 433 races, 281 pole positions, 275 wins, 10,000 iRating. Hashtag the first on at iRacing Road. Massive thanks to Pure Racing Team who pulled me into the sport 3 years ago. So looking at this guy's stats, like overall on road he's got a few more starts now, but he's sitting at a 58.74% win percentage and an 80% top 5. Like, that is just absolutely insane.
Maybe you guys should drag me into doing road stuff. Maybe I'm like a road phenom. I don't even know it.
I'm down with anybody that wants to do road.
So just one more stat here to throw at you guys. Just this year, like up to this year, he's made 26 starts and he's won 23 of them.
I mean, that's ridiculous. I see, like guys like that. I don't even know how they can have that many races without just being caught up in somebody else's stuff. That's amazing. I guess you're just that far ahead of all of them. Yeah,
it's
exactly.
when you're out front, all the wrecking's behind you.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about it when you're lapping them, I suppose.
Yeah, and it's like, that's just a phenomenal stat. I mean, 10,000 iRating, there's not even like an award or certificate or anything for that in the system. I think they max it out at 9,000, so definitely worthy of his world championship license there. And yeah, I mean, I just wonder how much he practices for each race. Like, does he just hop in and go? Is he that talented, or is he putting in 3-4 hours a race? I almost wish they would show you how much time you put into practice, because I almost guarantee you it's double anybody else around him.
Well, I gotta imagine this guy's got a bit of natural ability. You look at his first year that's posted in 2015. He made 184 starts and he won 55 of those starts for a 29.8% in the win column. This guy's just been good from day one.
Yeah, that's just skill.
Yeah, it looks like he was part of the F1 esports event in Abu Dhabi, so he was a finalist in that. So his talent crosses over not just from iRacing but to other sims as well. So, very, very impressive. So I'm gonna take the next topic here. BBC Sport posted a video of Max Verstappen making a pass at Spa. I'm gonna pronounce the name of this turn wrong, but Blackmont. I think I totally butchered that, but yeah, 200-mile-an-hour overtake on the outside of somebody, and 1 week later he did it real life. I don't know if you guys see those videos at all, or get to compare the iRacing versus real life there?
Yeah, I always love to check those out. I've seen a million of them, but they still impress me every time. Like almost without every single one of them without fail. I mean, if they put the time into it, they just match up so well. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, Verstappen's a phenom, though. I've been watching him drive for the past 2 or 3 years, and just the amount of skill that the kid has. I mean, he's 20 this season, I think, and his skill's unreal.
I think if what we're kind of seeing a trend here that maybe we should name our kids Max, because apparently that is a racing name. Because we have Maximilian, the crazy road racer that wins everything, and then this guy. Name your kids Max if you want to be fast race car drivers.
Yeah, and I mean it's identical. He passes them right on the outside. High speed corner at Spa. In the sim. And then I had to do a little hunting down to find video of it. In Formula One, but I mean, like, that's the premier motorsport in the world, and it looks identical. So yeah, it's really, really impressive and really some great footage.
That's the first time I've heard of it too. It is pretty cool though that he did practice. You know, it looks like he did do exactly the same thing over.
Yeah. So next media topic we have here. We had a lot of people showing off some of their high camber setups in the forum and some funny photos. Ever since supersets kind of became a thing about a week or two ago, people have really gotten more and more aggressive with how they put the camber on their car, and these things are starting to look like lowriders. The photo I kind of pulled here for the YouTube edits from Michael Cotto, and I mean, that thing looks just like a lowrider in an A car. I don't know. It's funny. I don't know what you guys think about it.
I don't know where they came up with that lowrider picture. I don't know if it's just because they're trying to, you know, make fun of how, garbage this camera stuff is. But yeah, all the other pictures. I mean, it's crazy to look at them. But I mean, I don't know. As far as the way I follow in this camera stuff, they'll patch this, and then they'll have something else that you can throw out of whack to get some kind of advantage. I mean, it's just math. It's always going to be some kind of goofy thing you can do. It's kind of cool that with this goofy thing you can actually visually see on the car.
Yeah, it looks like we got Tony back there. He all set up there, man?
Yeah, we're good to go. A slight glitch, apparently.
That's all good. No worries, man. We were just kind of talking about the 13 degrees of camber. I don't know if you saw that photo or not.
Yeah, I did see that photo, and I've been kind of following it, and boy, oh boy, the that sure is a hot topic as of late. But yeah, you guys are right. It certainly does look weird.
So I'm gonna take the next topic here. The World of Outlaws actually posted up on their Twitter feed about the new upcoming World Championship. So really cool to see that. They're promoting that really well, and I believe I saw Red Bull do it as well. But they tweeted that out, kind of bragging about the upcoming World Championships, and they had a good article. And I actually pulled a quote here from Ben Geislinger. He's the World of Outlaw Chief Marketing Officer. He said, "We're excited to see our Premier Series play out in the digital space with the best esport drivers in the world. It's the next step in our ongoing partnership with iRacing, and we hope to encourage continued crossover between simulated dirt racing and real world dirt racing." So I don't know if you guys saw those at all, and do you guys really feel like at some point we're going to start getting more crossovers between these World Championship drivers and iRacing crossing over to real life racing?
I think so, because I mean it's happened on the oval side. Look at William Byron and Ty Majeski. So it'll happen, I'm sure, at some point on the dirt side, if it hasn't already.
Well, it's also happened on the roadside as well. So yeah, like David said, it's just a matter of time. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, you have like just in NASCAR, for example, you have race teams that have simulators running crappier versions of, uh, you know, um, simulator software in their shops or paying money for. So they do it for a reason. It's giving these drivers an advantage. So why wouldn't it give you even more of an advantage if you were one of these drivers and you were racing on something like iRacing, and then you take that experience to the track? I think it's just going to be more and more crossover the farther we go.
Man, it's going to be easier for teams to find the next big Dale Earnhardt, or Max Verstappen, because it's easier to give these guys the software and watch them from a server or whatever, and just watch and see who's really good.
Oh yeah, like, I mean, you could probably most of these aliens that we see on here. I mean, you could pluck them out, and you have to assume that most of these guys could probably handle themselves in a real life race car. I mean, there's just some people it's obvious, whether it's sim or real life. Some people just have the talent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool that I mean, this is a high ranking guy in the world of Outlaws, which is pretty much the pinnacle of dirt racing. Wanting to see people make that transition. So, I think one of the first episodes I listened to was talked about Alex Bergeron and his virtual to reality race where he actually hopped in the 305 sprint car in that 360 race and did phenomenal. So, I feel like dirt racing, I mean, all racing is expensive, but dirt racing is a lot cheaper than some of the higher end NASCAR stuff. And I think it's a great place to help get people to transition over.
Yeah, it's cool to see somebody that's so high up, the food chain in the World of Outlaw series talking about this stuff too. I wish we could see some of the big guys in some of these other series talk about iRacing a little bit more. NASCAR.
Yeah, it's been a couple. I mean, it's been almost a month since we've heard anything about the whole NASCAR esports series. I know they pushed for it pretty hard, and there's a lot of news coming out real fast, but it's kind of died down over the last few weeks and months. So, hopefully this hopefully starts sparking some of that back up again, because I feel
Yeah,
like
let them work on the details a little bit more. Give them a little bit more time to figure out, and then they'll probably come out with something that's gonna make a lot of eyes turn to iRacing here shortly.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, it seems like such an obvious fit. It just seems easy. I mean, just the way racing is these days and social media, and just seems like it'd be a great fit and a huge win for NASCAR and iRacing. Just as long as they do it right.
Maybe this, will help iRacing and their programmers and stuff get to that next code base that we can use that makes the sim more reliable and we don't have these crashes that we've been seeing.
yeah, yeah. I mean, would you guys be opposed to like basically an iRacing 2 that only the World Championship Series run that had better code as they worked on it to roll it out to the general public? Or
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would. I mean, why wouldn't? I mean, if we can see it and they can test it, while it's running, what better place to do it? Because if they're going to have issues, it's going to make them look bad and they're going to want to get it fixed right then.
Yeah, it'd be cool. And yeah, as long as they did it through something like the beta UI, they could do something like that where you're just running on different servers. They could test out whatever they want. Get their fixes done that way. But you're right. If they need to get the problems fixed around these major events, if I was a big sponsor, I don't want to spend money to have people come watch my thing just to have it not go off for some reason.
yeah, so I don't know. We're gonna hop over to actually hardware software right now. Tony, you want to take this one?
Yeah, sure. Looks like there's a little bit of buzz happening from Main Performance PC. Looks like they're designing a new pedals and direct drive wheel kit. They Well, yeah, the question was posed on a different post asking about pre-orders, but I couldn't find what the pre-orders they were talking about. But anyways, it got directed towards the pedals and wheels. They replied, "We have pedals and a direct drive servo wheel. Doing extensive testing before production to make sure they're bulletproof." Um, More people were asking questions. They divulged that the wheel will be cheaper than AccuForce, more expensive than Fanatec. No options. The entire wheel kit will include everything from different wheels, quick release for different race styles, and it's also beefier in terms of power. They are saying that the pedals are sub 400 and require assembly. They'll ship worldwide for under $20. and include their pedal controller as well. Think HE style, but cheaper and just as strong slash good, but no hydraulic. Now, scrolling down their Facebook page, they did give up a little bit more information, like when they're planning to release this late 2018 or early 2019, shortly after their patents get kicked through, and the total cost, wheel and pedal setup they're looking for is about right around the $1,200 mark. Now, I don't know much about main performance PC, but from the what I've been reading on their Facebook page and from the replies and stuff, that's they seem to be a really good quality company.
Yeah, they make the Bodo cockpits, which I know mine I use as well as Mike, and he actually has a pair of their older pedals, which are the hydraulic ones. Um, but they kind of stopped production of those. I guess they had some kind of hydraulic issues in the past, and it just wasn't worth going on with them. But I think it's really cool. We're getting more direct drive options. Costs are coming down. Um, I feel like the demand for high quality, good sim racing gear is really high right now, and the technology's improved a ton. So it's kind of a perfect storm in the next couple of years for the quality of equipment to get better and the cost to come down.
Oh, well, that's cool. I didn't realize these were the guys that were behind the Obado's cockpits. That's real neat. Well, a lot of good things are said about those. So, and then I know Mike says, talks pretty high of the pedals that he runs. So, um, yeah, looks like it could be a good thing.
Yeah, the more the merrier. I mean, the more companies you have building this stuff, the better the stuff's going to get, cheaper it's going to get, and like we were talking about earlier, if the stuff does blow up, if NASCAR makes the right decision, some World of Outlaws makes the right decision, you get a lot of people that are buying this stuff, then the prices go down even more. So, winner, we'll just keep hoping.
Yeah, on the software side this week, actually this kind of happened last week, and I kind of had to highlight over in our topics because the last few shows were kind of long. David Tucker talked about how to use the two buttons as one function. In the forums, he said I cleaned up an old feature for this season, so now you can easily map two keys or buttons to a command. Basically, you can make one button on your wheel act as a shift key that lets the rest of the buttons take on a second function. That way you can map more macros with a limited number of buttons. So I know we talked about that as part of the Season 2 build this year, and he kind of went a little more in depth on how that works. And I didn't get to see where you set that up at. I haven't really got to play with it too much, but I think it's really good because some of these cars today, they just have too many commands. You have chat options for team speak and in the sim, so definitely a lot going on, and they're kind of making the most of what we got.
Oh, that's sorry, Chris. I was say that's really cool. It's like my button box. It's a homemade jobby, and well, it doesn't have a whole lot of buttons on it. So having this option just allows me to expand my button box and make it a lot more friendly to my use. This is cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say about the same thing. It was kind of a feature I didn't know I wanted. I mean, because it almost doubles your buttons. Whether you put them in a box, wheel, whatever. It's pretty awesome.
Make driving the new Porsche 919 easier. Now I don't have to map it. I can map the one button to it, and then have different features for other stuff too. So.
Yeah, I was driving the Formula car, drove some of the LMP1, and there's just so many different options as far as your like ERS, your deployment. I mean, everything, and even in some of the simpler cars, you could adjust the like a ton of stuff on the space on here, the Indy car, and I assume at some point we're gonna get an adjustable track bar in the Cup cars, and having more options is definitely never hurts for sure. So this week, we also had Tyler Hudson kind of chimed in on the debate between VRs versus triples in the forums this week. He gave some really good insight because he runs between both of them. He kind of had to say, Rift is very cool. The immersion is insane, especially if you've raced in real life before. It places you right back in the car. I continue to go back and forth between my Rift and triples. The screen door, motion sickness, headaches, and all of that I can get over, but the lack of field of view is all that kills it for me. Not being able to know where someone is when I am racing them side by side with them is a big hurdle to get over. It isn't as easy as simply looking over, especially when you've used triples and you can focus and see where they are through your peripheral vision. If I had one monitor, VR would be a no-brainer. However, triples are still slightly better. So, I don't know. I run a VR. I love it. It is a little weird to have to turn your head a little bit, but not the end of the world. I guess because I never got used to racing on triples. I don't know what you guys thought about that.
I just moved to triples and I've never actually run VR, so I can't really comment on that. But I know triples are absolutely fantastic. It totally brings you in, and the awareness you have around your car is just bar none unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm on a single monitor, but VR is definitely the upgrade path I'm going to go. Mostly because I've heard such good things, and it's cheaper. It's a lot cheaper than I mean, if you go the triple route, not only do you have to have 3 monitors, you have to have something to put them on. And I just heard nothing bad about VR, and I can see what he's saying, like where you can have the difference between if you're running triples, you could always see out that left window just through your peripheral instead of actually having to look over. I don't know. I mean, I obviously have no experience with either, so I can't really say. But it seems to me from what I've been hearing people talk about the immersion, immersion, it just feels so real. I think I could give up that little bit of peripheral vision that I wouldn't have, in real life anyway. I'm still going to be looking over, and I take the immersion over the being able to see somebody to my left.
I think it would. And I've only ran triple. Well, I've ran triples in a single monitor, and triples. I love. I don't know. That screen door effect. How and motion sickness and stuff. I mean, I'd be afraid because I know I suffer a little bit just on triples. So.
The whole motion sickness thing. I think if you have a good frame rate, I've never really had an issue. The screen door effect, you can notice if you're trying to notice it, but in the heat of a battle, when you're driving, you don't notice it at all. It's just like when you sit there on pit road and you're bored, or you just hopped on and you really start to focus on the little details, you get that, but it's not that bad. The one things I do miss is you obviously can't really utilize third-party apps as much, or really at all. So stuff like gel real timing and things of that nature that gives you that extra information you lose out on. It does get extremely warm in those headsets. But, I mean, I used to race what they call, like, speedway sprints, where basically sprint car chassis go-karts, basically, and you had to turn your head in those to see. I mean, the helmet cuts off your peripheral vision, so I never really struggle with that. Plus, I use the in-car mirrors. I don't use the virtual mirror at all, but whenever I do, like, the A-car or the trucks, I use those virtual mirrors, and it doesn't take much to just kind of glance over at that side mirror and see what's next to you. Plus, I use a headset for audio, so you have those audio cues as well. So, a little bit, like, especially dirt racing, when you're really battling side by side, you kind of have to look over once in a while, but it takes just such a brief second, and I feel like, yes, it probably would be a little bit easier on triples, but I would rather be a little slower and have a more realistic experience than 3 screens. I don't know, like, when you put that headset on, you're in the car. The rest of the world around you shuts off, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah, I was watching a video you posted in the our team chat just the other day, and when the part where you just sat down in the car and you were looking around and like looking at the tires in the sprint car or whatever it was, and I was like, man, that is so freaking cool. I can't do that.
I do want to try VR. Just gotta be able to afford it first.
Yeah, that's one of those things. It'd be nice if there was more places where you could go out and experience it without spending. Well, I mean, it's probably $400 for the headset, and then if you don't have a video card, I mean, right now those things are outrageous. So let's keep me from upgrading right now.
My buddy's was looking at a new video card, and he's like, "Is $1,100 normal?" I'm like, "No, it is. It wasn't 6 months ago."
Yeah, until the data mining stuff goes away, I'm kind of screwed.
I don't think that's going anywhere, but that's another topic altogether.
I read a forum the other day that the video card I had that just died in my PC was selling on eBay for around $2,000. I was like, "Are you serious? That is ridiculous." I mean, that's 10 times what I paid for it almost.
What do you have in your? What did you have, Chris?
I had a 1060 in my case, and it died, and now I replaced it with a 1050 Ti because that was all I could afford.
I got you. I've got a 970. I can't touch. Like, I would love to upgrade it just to a 1070, but I can't touch the pricing of it.
Yeah, before Christmas, I don't know what you spent on yours, but I've been shopping for a while. I know it was a lot. But right before Christmas, I was finding 1070 Ti's for like $350, $400. I think right after they went up to about $450. So yeah, they've at least more than doubled if you can even get your hands on one.
See, I bought the 1060 shortly after it came out, so I only paid like $240 for it.
Yeah, it's nuts. I think I advised people a while back that you could still go out and get like a Dell or an HP that has those cards already installed, and they were still a pretty reasonable price. But I don't think you can even get that anymore. We're just kind of screwed right now.
Yeah, and then I got in a discussion with some guys the other day that it is almost cheaper now to buy pre-built PCs from like main performance PC. I mean, you get everything all in one for $1,600, where you could spend $1,100 on a video card.
Yeah, it's definitely the way to go if you want a video card right now, I think.
Yeah, I ran VR on my 970 and then upgraded to the 1070, and the 970 got it done, but you really had to sacrifice in a lot of areas, especially night racing with shadows and everything. Yeah, you definitely need a good graphics card. I feel like that's a big hurdle. That's probably the biggest hurdle of it. But the cost of 3 good triple monitors is not as bad, but it's still up there too. So I think sim racing in general, the cost has come down a ton. But to get the best out of it, I feel like there's still a good...
Well, I guess that depends, because, I mean, if I bought my 4-monitor setup off, was it Facebook or Craigslist? One of those two, $200. They're Dell professional monitors. I mean, yeah, if you buy everything new, it's going to be, more expensive. But like monitors, you could generally find matching monitors relatively cheap if you look.
Yeah, that's how I got mine, but... Yeah, you gotta really hunt those deals down. I know I pretty much check Craigslist every day under the sim racing tab. That's how I found my Aboto for such a great deal. It's I'm always looking out there for a good deal.
Yeah, I've looked a bit. There's nothing around me here in Arkansas. There's like no race fans here. It's terrible. I wish I was still living in Indiana where we have race fans.
See, I see stuff every once in a while pop up in the Kansas City market, which is just 50 minutes away. And every once in a while I'll see a wheel or something. Man, there's not much.
There's a guy about 2 hours from me that has an entire rig set up that he's selling. He's not parting it out, but like, I wish he would, because I'd go buy the Abato part of it that he has, but he's selling it for like $1,500.
Oof.
Which, I mean, when you think about it, all that stuff together, I mean, an Abato rig brand new, I just went on their websites while we've been talking and saw how much was shipping and everything. It's $1,100 just the rig.
Yeah, there's definitely good deals out there. You just gotta find them. I'm gonna move on to the next topic here. iRacing has a new fact page. They updated their current fact page about a week or so ago, and if you want to find it on the member site, you just roll over the help option, and it's under the fact tab. But It's really nice. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's really nice, very well laid out. Goes over everything as far as setup, hardware. I mean, anything you could think of is pretty much there. So they did a really good job with it.
Well, yeah, I opened this up just because I had to peek, and I know I've gone to the previous one a few times looking for stuff, and it was just complete garbage. You strain your eyes trying to figure out what the heck's going on, but yeah, they did a real nice job. It's very nicely laid out, very easy to see things and try and find the answers that you're looking for. Good job on them, and it's about time.
Yeah, beats the hell out of digging through the forums for hours.
Yeah, that's still a nightmare.
That's the fun thing to do, ain't it?
Right.
Yeah, it's like I feel like I know when I started iRacing, it was almost like 2 months before I fully understood how everything worked, where everything was, how the license system worked. I mean, it took me a while to just kind of adapt to it. And I feel like I do above average when it comes to stuff of that nature and figuring stuff out. It's such an old, complex system that's been around for so long that so many people take for what they know for granted. And those new users, I mean, it's definitely a struggle to get through all that. But it's kind of cool they're updating that and being a little bit more aware of that kind of thing.
Man, we got to talking about stuff, and I mentioned Facebook. I'm looking at Facebook Marketplace right now. Somebody has a Thrustmaster TX wheel and the TH8A shifter. They want $300 for both.
Nice.
That makes me sick. That's the shifter alone is almost $200.
Yeah, it's a nice thing about Southern California. I feel like a lot of people get into hobbies here and then get out of them real quick. So I always find weird pop-ups out here and just really scored a deal on these things. But yeah, if you keep an eye out there, man, there's some good racing equipment that people are trying to get rid of, or just don't want anymore. It's try definitely take advantage of that. So that was actually. Oh, sorry there.
I was gonna say, it makes me wish I had $300 right now.
So yeah, that was actually our last topic here. Let's hop into final thoughts. I'm gonna have you go first, Chris.
Not much. Y'all did a great job with the podcast this week. I know with the Podfather gone, I'm sure he appreciates it. And just getting ready for Road to Pro tonight. Ran a practice race last night. It was good for the most part. I might have accidentally got into a guy twice. He's probably not too happy about it, but other than that, it was a fairly clean race and open for the same night. We have a pretty good truck. I think it was the first time I've ever ran Martinsville, and I think I ran right around between 6th and 10th the majority of the time. So if we can, somebody with a little bit more experience can probably even get around there a little bit quicker.
All right, Chris. Perez, I don't know if you want to take next final thought.
I'm just ready to get the Road to Pro. All I'll say is be careful out there in turn 1 and lap 1, guys.
David, any final thoughts from you, sir?
Just getting ready for Road to Pro, seeing where I finish tonight. Hopefully, I last for more than 5 minutes, because for whatever reason, these Road to Pro races have not been ending up like my NIS races. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I feel like it's a little extra difficult because I mean, you only get one start every 2 weeks, or in this case, it's been a month. So hopefully we have a good run in tonight. Tony, any final thoughts from you, sir?
Oh, well, the Road to Pro subject, I am really not looking forward to it. Short tracking is not my forte. I have a hard time there. But I'm gonna go out, I'll put my head down, and hopefully I can get that truck across the finish line in one piece. That is my goal this week. Other than that, I guess we got the same thing for NIS this week. More short track, and me being down in the dungeons, lots of racks, lots of cautions. Bring it on.
Yeah, and as for my final thoughts, I just want to shout out Mike Ellis. He does such a great job with this show and put so much effort in, and he set me up with all the great topics this week. And man, did not realize how difficult this would be. I hit start streaming, and I know started recording, and I was like, oh, Mike's not here. I gotta speak up. But no, I thank you guys all for being here. Hopefully we have a good week this week at Martinsville. I probably won't do too much racing, but a lot of spotting. So I'm gonna try to bring you home clean tonight, David, and try to work with you as much as I can, Chris, as well. But yeah, no, it's really hopefully we have a good week. Hopefully we survive. No one loses a license, and I think that's it for the show, guys. Any last words besides the final thoughts?
Good luck and have a good night, guys.
Yep.
Yep.
Right,
Thanks.
yeah.
I think he did a great job filling in for Mike, man. I wouldn't want that on my shoulders. Good job, man.
Hey, I tried. All right, everyone.
And Perez, I'm sorry for taking your spot when he called out Chris. I'm usually top of the Chris's, and I wasn't looking at the screen.
You can just call me Perez from now on or something.
Perez and Scales.
Hey, we brought it home. So yep. You guys have a great rest of your week.